Unbridled praise showered the previous season as it descended upon the masses, spreading vulgarity, gore, and dick to all. Many a blind zealot received these gifts without question, consuming the forbidden fruits, believing Netflix had finally ascended to greatness. The Netflix is come, as plebs laid their hands on that first season, while I, a true disciple of the good standard, remain resolute in my belief that quality, consistency be upon him, is something most of the previous season fell short of achieving. Commandments like internal consistency, character arc, and intrigue were lost on most of the flock. Now here we are in the season of resurrection. It is now a time for everyone to sing hymns of hype upon the arrival, while I humbly stand on this tiny soapbox of values like a pillar of complaints, shouting, "Deceiver!" Fair is fair, this season feels a little more refined on a technical front compared to the prior season. Episodes like Ice feel like an upgraded Zima Blue, while Life Hutch is so well executed visually I had to re-watch certain shots to see if Michael B. Jordan was real or rendered. Seriously, certain moments look better than Thanos. Other episodes like The Tall Grass are a great combination you wouldn't have realized worked until you saw it. 3D with stop-motion styled animation and colored like oil paintings. Yeah, I know, it fit well together like a midget stripper popping out of a Hostess cup. Now, these remarks only go so far in my book, as aesthetics are so low on my totem pole of care, it rivals my taste for bean pate. Now, what did strike me was how restrained and almost ashamed this season is. This is an odd one for me since I don't care for gratuity. I want good story, characters, internal consistency, etc. So, ironically, if characters are butchered within reason, that's fine, but gore for the sake of gore is mindless. However, Season 1 came out swinging like Barry Bonds at a piñata party, and just like my internet history, people watched LDR and said, "Gross. I didn't know I was into that." Regardless of quality, Season 1 was at least an interesting collection of stories, while this season has little to do with even the titular words individually, or have even a fraction of the boldness from the former season. For example, Good Hunting showed a wondrous and intriguing world that a lot of thought went into, while All Through the House makes you wonder how many shots of Jaeger were downed in its conception. Beyond the Aquila Rift horrifies you like a date night in a haunted house, while The Tall Grass is content with trick-or-treating for UNICEF. And that might have been the plan all along: wow everyone with the first season, then try to settle down with an almost completely different tone, like the fandom dividing shift Linkin Park made from Meteora to Minutes to Midnight. And it is too pompous to realize that it's overstaying its welcome. This issue bugs me like ants in my pants during a salsa dance. You can't just shove your balls in my face then expect me to love it. At least buy me dinner first. More episodes here lack the real meat that makes storytelling work. Character choices, internal consistency, logical progression, and world building, just to name a few, are missing qualities that made episodes like Sunny's Edge or Good Hunting, well, good. So without further ado, which ones were good enough for my top 3? Because this season was so short, I ain't gonna give it more time than I've already wasted on it. Snow in the Desert follows an albino named, well, Snow. He's living on a backwater rock in the middle of nowhere space. That's because he has an extremely high bounty on his, balls. Taking the piss out of magical MacGuffins, Snow's balls produce a hormone that, if decoded, can produce a drug that can effectively produce immortality. Hence why everyone wants a piece of him, like that quick fight in a bar where a trio of bounty hunters challenge him, lose two, get the upper hand after taking Snow's, and are stopped by a lovely woman I will call Harold. Then Snow and Harold, they wander the desert. They hit it off, and another band of hunters arrive. This time the fight costs Snow an arm and a leg. Harold intervenes, then gives the leader a good old Kalima after a healthy dose of "don't stand in the open, you idiot." An alright episode with little to go on besides a few neat little ideas like people wanting Snow's balls or the glass humidity chambers for water thieves. During a train ride across the country, a passenger is enjoying the ride until the train comes to a stop. Thinking nothing of it after being dismissed as a non-issue by the conductor, the passenger has a smoke. Of course, after being warned not to wander away from the train, the passenger's attention is grabbed by a ghostly light in the vast field. Despite the warning, the passenger decides to investigate and comes across faceless monsters resembling the Neomorph from Alien Covenant. Of course, he decides to nope back to the train real quick and narrowly escapes after being saved by the conductor. A well-paced Lovecraftian story and a complimentary art style fitting of the times. Be still, my frozen heart. Slow, eerie progress building to a satisfying conclusion befitting a place within the genre's namesake lore. Alright, not bad. but it doesn't excel at anything like Beyond the Aquila Rift did. In a dystopian future, breeding has become illegal for the purposes of population control. The detective we follow is a member of high society, and his job is to track down and eliminate illegally bred children. For obvious reasons, this has an effect on him, and he questions what he is doing with his life. After coming across another woman who has a child of her own in the slums below, the detective has a change of heart, followed immediately by a confrontation with his partner in one last selfless act. There was no question this would dominate after watching it. You want a strong hook? Blam! Huh, that affected me more than I thought it would. No shit! Across the board, Pop Squad gets most of the marks. With the exception of how the partner found the detective at the end, it is merely an imperfect pearl that will still draw people to it. Season 2 started off badly, peaked halfway through, and then pushed rope at the end. If Season 1 of LDR is like a party night at a college and you leave with someone for the night, then Season 2 is the hungover realization your partner in bed was actually Edward Furlong. If the series is to revitalize itself, it should focus more on better storytelling and maybe bring back some of the gore and action just to keep people's attention, but just don't overdo it like Season 1. Actually, go watch my review of Season 1 at the link above to see which episodes are best there before I get around to the third season, and subscribe to join my kingdom.